Today, we're diving into a really fascinating framework called the cash-keeping phase. The big idea here is that maybe, just maybe, the real point of a business isn't just about making a profit. It's about managing this super high-stakes transformation of money itself. So let's get right into it.
So, I want you to forget everything you think you know about profit margins, at least for a minute. Let's start with a totally different question. What if business is actually a game of speed? What if a company's survival really just comes down to how fast it can move through this incredibly dangerous cycle and get its money back to a state of pure strategic power? To really get our heads around this race against time, we first have to understand that capital isn't just one thing. It actually exists in two completely different, you could almost say opposing states. And it's this duality, this tension between the two, that every single business has to manage.
All right, first up, you've got what's called universal capital. Now, in plain English, this is cash. But its power isn't in what it is, it's in what it could be. The source material has this great phrase for it, calling it an ontological property of readiness. It basically means cash is just pure potential, ready to become anything the business needs it to be. It's your ultimate strategic energy. But here's the catch. To actually create anything valuable, you have to sacrifice that potential. That universal capital has to be transformed into specific capital. It gets locked up, or as the source material puts it, imprisoned in things. Like raw materials, half-finished products, or big machines. And all of a sudden, it's not flexible anymore. It has one single, dedicated purpose. Now, this slide just lays out that fundamental trade-off perfectly, doesn't it? On one side, you have cash. It's safe, it's flexible, it's ready for anything. And on the other side, you've got these frozen assets. They are totally committed. They are vulnerable, but they're the only things that can actually create new value. Every single business has to live on this knife's edge, constantly balancing readiness with creation.
And that brings us to the core process, which this framework calls the cycle of tension. You can see it's not just some simple production line. No, it's this high-stakes journey where a business has to deliberately make itself vulnerable, all for the hope of coming back even stronger.
This quote just nails it. A business has to consciously and deliberately give up its most powerful asset, its liquidity, just to kickstart the process of making something new. Think about that. It's a calculated risk, a willing alienation from the safety and the pure flexibility that cash gives you. So let's just walk through this journey together. It all starts with readiness. That's your pile of liquid cash. Then comes the sacrifice, the moment you buy your raw materials. Next, and this is the most dangerous part, is immobilization. This is where your capital is literally trapped as work in progress. The entire goal, the whole point of the game, is to push through this phase to fulfillment, selling the product and turning it all back into that powerful liquid cash again. And here it is. This is the crucial insight of this whole thing. Businesses usually don't fail because their products aren't profitable on paper. They fail because their cash gets stuck in that immobilization phase. They just run out of liquid money to pay their bills while all their capital is trapped inside the production pipeline. It's a cash flow problem, a cash flow trap, not a profit problem. Okay, so if getting stuck in that freeze is the biggest risk out there, how do successful companies manage to avoid it? Well, they survive because they measure and manage their time in that illiquid state with absolute precision. Let's take a look at how they do it. The main tool they use to manage all this is the cash conversion cycle, or CCC. It sounds technical, but it's actually a pretty simple number with a really profound meaning. It answers one question. How many days does it take for $1 that you invested in inventory to find its way all the way back to your bank account as cash? The shorter that cycle is, the healthier the business. It's that simple. The CCC is basically controlled by three main levers, like dials you can turn. The first is DIO, which is how long your capital is frozen as inventory. The goal? You want to reduce that, make it shorter. The second is DSO, how long it takes your customers to pay you. The goal there? Accelerate it. Get that cash faster. And the third is DPO, which is how long you take to pay your own suppliers. Now, this is the only one you want to maximize. You're essentially using your suppliers' cash to fund your own operations. And this right here, this is the absolute holy grail in negative cash conversion cycle. It's what companies like Dell and Amazon famously perfected. I mean, think about it. It means you get paid by your customers before you even have to pay your suppliers for the parts. It's incredible. Your suppliers are literally financing your growth, and your own precious cash never even feels the strain. So what happens when a company truly masters this whole cycle?
Well, the reward isn't just about profit. It's about achieving what the source material calls fulfillment, and that unlocks a whole new level of corporate power.
This is such a great way to reframe it. A sale isn't just revenue coming in the door. It's the moment of fulfillment that finally completes the cycle. It's the act that liberates your capital from its specific prison and restores it to that powerful, universal state, ready for whatever you want to do next. And the rewards for doing this well are immense. I mean, mastering liquidity gives you strategic readiness, so you can jump on any opportunity or dodge any threat. It grants you corporate power, the simple, incredible ability to meet all your obligations no matter what's going on. And ultimately, it builds institutional immunity, making your company resilient to the kinds of economic shocks that just crush less disciplined competitors.
And really, it all comes down to this one final, powerful idea. In a world full of uncertainty, true power, true sovereignty, doesn't belong to the companies with the most assets on paper. It belongs to those who keep their capital in a state of readiness.
So let's wrap this all up by turning the question over to you. In your own work, in your own context, whether it's a huge company or just a personal project, where is your capital's journey back to cash the slowest? Where are the bottlenecks? Because as we've seen today, managing that speed, well, that's everything.